ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com. And in part by Uncle Ben's. Cooking brings us closer. Begin with Ben. Both head coaches, Bob Huggins, an alum of West Virginia. Same thing for his cohort on this night, Jamie Dixon, coaching for his alma mater, and that, of course, is TCU. These two teams and these two coaches met less than a year ago on this floor, and it was an instant classic. Triple overtime before the Mountaineers pulled away in the end for a 104-96 win. But it was Derek Culver who was the star of the night. 22 points, 21 rebounds. The first Mountaineer since Mo Robinson back in 1977 to have a 20-20 double-double. Desmond Bain, who's on the floor for the Horned Frogs tonight, had 17 and 8 in 53 minutes. And Jordan McCabe, the starting point guard tonight for Bob Huggins, had a career-high 25 points, 11 assists, and 6 steals in that game. But we fast forward to tonight's contest. Both teams much improved. Both teams right atop the Big 12 standings. 4 wins in a row for Jamie Dixon's Horned Frogs, their best start in the Big 12 era. West Virginia coming in at 13-2 overall, ranked number 12 in the country and number 10 in the net rankings. They're wearing their home grays tonight, and it's the road purples for TCU. Another raucous crowd in one of the toughest Big 12 gyms to play in, King. You've had this experience. What's it like?
You know, I have not been very fortunate in this building. I've not had that much success. But what you have to do is eliminate the crowd. Get the crowd quiet early. Make easy baskets. You know the crowd is going to get into it. So you have to be able to eliminate the crowd. And you can't have plays like that because right now, you know, as soon as you start having plays like that, the crowd get into it, and then you're out of luck.
Well, there's your starting 5 for West Virginia. We mentioned Jordan McCabe already. He's joined by Jermaine Haley, Emmett Matthews Jr., and then the Twin Towers in Morgantown, Oscar Tshiebwe, a sensational freshman, and Derek Culver, the super sophomore. Here's McCabe, first shot of the game, off the mark. He's been in a shooting slump for the start of the season.
Yeah, he's definitely been in a slump, and I feel like this might be the breakout game for him. This might be the game. He had a good game last year here against this Horned Frogs team, and I think this might be the game where he can break out and have another one.
A tremendous score in high school, averaging just 25% from the field for McCabe. But the first points of the game go to the Mountaineers. The confetti flies, and now we settle in. TCU starting 5, led by Desmond Bain, one of the best all-around players in the Big 12. Jair Breyer off the mark. Haley leads the break for West Virginia. So we talked about West Virginia's defense. What do they like to do on offense, King?
On offense, they love to post up. One thing I know from playing against them the past few years, be ready to be posted up at any moment, at any time. You always have to have that in the back of your mind that they're not really looking to shoot the 3. They're looking more to get easy 2s and easy buckets.
Jermaine Haley, first turnover. That was an unforced error trying to get it into the post, but threw it out of bounds instead. Here's Desmond Bain here in the chorus of boos. He's number 1 on the scouting report for the Mountaineer Maniacs. And there's a triple by R.J. Nembhard, who is 17 points per game so far in Big 12 play.
Desmond Bain set that up, came off the ball screen, which Jamie Dixon loves to do, found the open man in the corner to the extra one more of Nembhard. He needed to see that ball go in.
Nembhard opened Big 12 play with 31 points in their overtime win against Iowa State. Here's Tshiebwe with the touch. A 3-pointer by McCabe. Off the mark. Offensive rebound, Culver. The putback, no good. But Derek Culver will go to the line, and the crowd loves it. Well, Bob Huggins always gets a standing ovation when he walks out in front of his hometown crowd. In his 13th season as the Mountaineers head coach, 873 career wins. That's 4th among active head coaches, 8th most in Division I history. And Bob Huggins, rightfully so, nominated again for the Hall of Fame, which will be announced later on this year, and deserving of that honor. Three wins away from tying none other than Adolph Rupp on the all-time wins list is Bob Huggins. Culver 1 for 2 from the line, and Deontay Smith comes away with it for the Frogs. The upsets continue in college basketball. The mighty keep falling. Clemson upset Duke moments ago. Could we see an upset here? With West Virginia ranked 12th in the country, but they're getting a handful in the opening moments from TCU. There's Samuel with his first 2 in an easy slam. Here's Culver. Now Shibwe. Nice looking jump shot from the big man.
That's not really what he's known to do, but he has that capability. He can step out and shoot that 15-footer. Normally more comfortable around the rim, but he does have that capability to step out and shoot a little bit.
First season in college basketball for Shibwe, but you know him very well.
I hosted him on his visit when he came to Baylor, and there was an amazing kid, great character, great personality. I loved him so much.
Well, Shibwe has his first 2. Derek Culver has 3. These two are a formidable pair. They're 1 and 2 in the Big 12 in rebounding right now. The last pair of teammates to lead the Big 12 in rebounding got to go back to 2005-2006. LaMarcus Aldridge and P.J. Tucker from Texas. That's some pretty good company.
Hey, that's really good company.
Here's Edric Dennis, 2 in purple. Throws it away, the second Horned Frogs turnover. That's something that Jamie Dixon is looking to avoid. His team averages about 13 turnovers a game, but typical of a Jamie Dixon team, they're first in the conference in sharing the sugar. 17 assists per game leads the Big 12.
And that's why they also lead the conference in three-point percentage, because they always find the wide open man and they share the sugar, like you just said.
Here's Shibwe. And are they going to call him for a travel? Offensive foul called on Oscar Shibwe. Looked like he might have shuffled the bunnies before putting that shot up. They get him for his first foul. So 2 early turnovers in the first 4 minutes for West Virginia. And TCU has the ball with a chance to take the lead, something we don't see that often, believe it or not. If you're new to watching West Virginia basketball this year, is a full-court press. More of a nuisance press than a turnover-type press.
Yeah, this is definitely a different team than my 4 years at Baylor, when there was Daxter Miles and Javon Carter on the court in your grill at all times of the game.
And yet, that West Virginia D still suffocating, as you can see. 3 on the shot clock. They get it up. It doesn't touch the rim, and it's a shot clock violation. And right on cue, that is vintage West Virginia getting the shot clock violation on Kevin Samuel and company. We are tied at 5 from Morgantown. Those wins coming right here in Morgantown, but since he's taken over at TCU, not nearly as much success. Hasn't won yet as the Horned Frogs head coach in this building. Talked to both of them, looking for the rivalry kind of conversation. Neither one bit. They're both good friends who share a lot of memories together. Five to shoot for West Virginia. Haley's going to have to squeeze it off. He got it off in time, but it's off the mark, and Nembhard chases it down. Here's Deontay Smith, a freshman from Florida. Bain, here's the booze again. His first shot, around and in, and Desmond Bain is in the scoring column, averaging 17 points a game tonight.
I'm a huge fan of this kid, Desmond Bain. The poise that he plays with at all times, the confidence he has. He knows and he feels like he is the best player every time he steps on the court, and he tries to show it every time.
There's a turnover. And a nice bounce pass, and Nebhard got caught in the middle of a Euro step, but got it off to Smith, who finishes it off with an easy 2. Deontay Smith in the scoring column, TCU up 4. Well, West Virginia's offensive struggles have been well documented, averaging 71.5 a game, but in conference it's closer to 50 a game. Sometimes their best offense is rebounding their misses.
Good thing they do that very well at an elite level.
And there's an offensive foul, and that's turnover number 4 for the Horned Frogs. TCU had hit on their last 3 consecutive field goal attempts. But now it'll be West Virginia with a chance to tie or take the lead. And Jamie Dixon is trying to have his case heard by the officials from clear across the court. Keith Kimball, Rick Crawford, Bert Smith, your officials tonight. Here's Brandon Napper. Calls his own number and knocks down his first jumper. Brandon Napper, averaging just under 4 points a game, already has 2 tonight.
He's been playing really well. Last 2 games, averaging 9 points per game. He is a scorer. He's not really a point guard. He just plays the point guard because of his size, but he is a certified scorer. Huggins loves guards who can really score the ball.
And now number 3 in gray, Gabe Osaboyan on the floor. A defensive stopper for Bob Huggins. Transfer from Arkansas. All alone for 3. Off the mark is the freshman P.J. Fuller.
Those are the looks that you have to hit against this West Virginia defense. They do such a good job of clogging the lane and keeping you out of the paint, and they give you open looks from time to time. You have to knock those down and make them pay if you want to beat this good West Virginia team.
Osaboyan tried to force it inside to reserve big man Logan Rout. It goes out of bounds off his hands. It'll be TCU basketball. And just to piggyback on your point about open threes, King, it's such a gift for an opposing team to get an open look against the West Virginia defense. You got to make it count.
As we mentioned in the open, they have so much size. If you look at their starting lineup, take away Jordan McCabe, everybody else is 6'6" and taller. So there's not that many open looks on the court for you because of their length.
And now Sheedway and Culver both on the bench. That's a rare situation for Bob Huggins. He likes to have one of those 2 big men studs on the floor, but it's Logan Rout manning the middle right now. Nebhard on the line, hits the first of 2 free throws. Well, 3 of the top 11 teams in the nation highlighting a full Saturday of college hoops on ESPN. Number 10, Kentucky taking on Arkansas in Fayetteville at 4 Eastern. Then number 3, Duke, who just lost to Clemson, hosting number 11, Louisville, who's in overtime against Pitt tonight. That's going to be in Cameron Indoor in a matchup of the top hoops teams in the ACC. Upsets galore in the ACC and across the country in college basketball. Here's Chase Harler. Out to Napper. He's 2 for 2. And that's a good sign for this West Virginia offense.
That's a great sign. You see it game by game. His confidence is growing. This kid is going to be really good, and I think he can really step up, especially with McCabe in the slump. He can be that backup point guard to step up and lead this team to more victories.
Harler for 3. Back-to-back triples for the Mountaineers. On the shot clock for the Frogs. And a traveling violation called. We have a media timeout with 11:25 to go, and West Virginia with a 4-point lead.
Back-to-back threes. Napper hitting the first 3, Harler hitting the second 3. This crowd is erupting. making it rain in West Virginia.
Huggy Bears Mountaineers in the midst of a 6-0 run. They've made 4 of their last 4 field goals, and TCU has been held in check. No field goals in their last 3-0-2. What's going on to turn the tide in favor of the Mountaineers, King?
Well, West Virginia is just taking what the defense gives them. But the thing that stands out to me is 8-2 bench points. They play 12 guys. A lot of coaches do not want to do that because they feel like somebody's always going to get mad. But Bob Huggins does not care. He's playing 12 guys, and he's going to find a lineup that works, and it seems like right now he's finding that lineup.
Earn your minutes. There's Osaboyan. A defensive presence. Tried to get offensive that time. It's out of bounds and will stay West Virginia basketball. Put 20 back on the shot clock. 11:01 to go in the first half.
Logan Rout, shooting 2.
Jair Grayer with the foul, and Logan Rout will go to the free throw line. He's a 6'11 senior playing in his 91st career game as a Mountaineer. And we're just coming off the national championship game. I still have a little football on the brain. Believe it or not, at 6'11", 250, Logan Rout was a high school quarterback.
A 6'11 quarterback?
How about that? Out of Cameron, West Virginia.
Oh, man. That sounds like a creative player on Madden.
That's right. You thought Trevor Lawrence for Clemson was tall at 6'6". Here's a West Virginia loose ball. Picked up by Fuller. Oh, he tried for the highlight dunk and missed it. And it goes off Kevin Samuel's leg. Turns out to be a TCU turnover, number 6 for the Frogs.
Oh. Now, although he missed that, respect to P.J. Fuller, because majority of guys in this conference would not have tried that. He tried the big fella. That is not a small body. That's a big man right there. Respect to P.J. Fuller for even trying this.
P.J., a 6'4", 175-pound freshman. Looks even smaller and lighter when you're going up against 6'10", 255 Derek Culver. Earning what we like to call King's credits for that dunk attempt.
King's credits for that.
Here's McBride, Deuce McBride with his first 2 of the game. He's averaging 15 points in Big 12 play.
This kid is special. He will be the next Dexter Miles, the next Javon Carter, the next big guard from West Virginia, because he has that supreme confidence that it takes to be a star.
An 8-0 West Virginia run gives them their largest lead so far, 19-11, coming up on 10 minutes to go in the first half. Here's Francisco Farabello, and the first block of the game by Shibwe. Here's Harler in the open court. The offense for West Virginia's clicking. Timeout, TCU.
Great block by Shibwe. Went up with 2 hands. Their defense is turning into their offense, and that's a good fast break. Way to capitalize on the great block by Shibwe.
Oscar Shibwe averaging close to a double-double in his freshman campaign. 11.9 points per game leads this Mountaineers team. 9.8 rebounds per game leads this Mountaineers team. He's got 6 double-doubles already. He is a beast.
He is a beast, Rich. He's raw offensively, kind of a raw talent, but he plays so hard and his intangibles are so good. It's like he has a knack for the ball and knows where it's coming off at all times.
Grayer off the mark. The rebound gives the TCU Horned Frogs another reset. And if this is a heavyweight fight, it looks like the heavyweight that's wearing purple is stunned and on the ropes right now. And there's a travel, turnover number 6 for Jamie Dixon's Frogs.
But when you look at the teams that TCU has played, even some of the coaches mentioned it, this is by far the best team that they have seen all year. Now, I know their record, they've only lost 3 games, but this is by far the best team that they've seen all year. And this defense is unlike any other.
McBride tried to get it into Culver. I've noticed a lot of West Virginia turnovers are in some ways good turnovers. At least they're doing what Bob wants them to do, which is get the ball in the low post.
One thing a coach always told me is that a dead ball turnover is so much better than a live ball turnover, because live ball turnovers lead to fast breaks. And a lot of West Virginia's turnovers are dead ball turnovers, and they go out of bounds because they're trying to feed the post. They're trying to do what Coach Huggins wants.
They get it inside to Samuel. He's a load too. Misses the jump hook with the left hand. Here's Harler. Now they'll reset the offense. Much more of a half-court offense this year for West Virginia. Oh, how about the assist from the big man? Culver to Harler. And Chase Harler has a game-high 7. It's a 14-0 West Virginia run. Here's Bain, silences the crowd with a 3.
There's the confidence we talked about earlier. On a big run, West Virginia is able to take the shot, have the courage to take the shot and knock it down. That's what Desmond Bain does.
Gotta love Desmond Bain's touch from beyond the arc. He's 13 of his last 23 from 3. Here's Bain in the open court. Left hand, oh, it just trickles out. And Desmond Bain will have to earn it at the free throw line, where he's an 83% free throw shooter. So Desmond Bain will go to the line, the undisputed and unquestioned leader of a very young TCU Horned Frogs team, and someone you have a lot of experience guarding in Big 12 play.
Yeah, we've definitely had our battles. Desmond Bain's a great player. Seeing his progression from his freshman year to now is really unbelievable.
What's the biggest difference from when he was young to now as a veteran senior?
I think really just his whole leadership. When he first got there, he was a quiet kid, didn't really know his role, didn't really understand his game, Rich. But now he understands and he knows what he does. He knows that he's a three-point shooter and can create separation if you take away the 3. So he's learned his game and he understands his role, and he's really, just credit to him for leading this young TCU team to a 3-0 record in Big 12.
And climbing up the all-time scoring list for TCU tonight, he's already passed the great Kurt Thomas for 7th all-time in TCU scoring. There's another West Virginia turnover. That's turnover number 7, but they still lead it by 7, and they are clicking on offense.
Big fella can really pass, an underlooked part of his game. Very talented. Derek Culver, remember the name.
12th ranked Mountaineers up 7 on TCU. King, take us inside the play.
This is all about court awareness. Derek Culver is so good, he demands a double at all times. Because he demands a double, that means the big man, whoever's guarding Oscar, has to come over and help. The back 2 defenders lost communication, didn't communicate because the 2 offensive players were lifted. Great awareness by Derek Culver, great cut by Sheway when Harler took it, so great cut by Harler.
I noticed all 5 Frogs defenders were looking in the direction of Derek Culver. No one saw Chase Harler cutting to the hoop.
That's how good he is. He demands attention at all times he's on the court.
Here's Grayer. Now Dennis. Guarded by Taz Sherman, who's just checked in. Dennis drew the foul and will go to the line and shoot 2. So Edric Dennis, a 6'3", 190-pound grad transfer from UT Arlington, originally from Dallas, Texas, just like the man sitting to my right tonight.
Dallas, Texas. The Horned Frogs definitely need him to step up.
Well, here's our next NBA Wednesday doubleheader on ESPN. Kyrie and the Nets are in Philly to take on the Sixers at 7 Eastern. Then we take it to Houston, Harden, and Westbrook and the Rockets, hosting Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and the Trailblazers. That's coming up on Wednesday on ESPN. How about Kyrie Irving finally making his return? 21 points in 20 minutes in his first game back against the Pelicans.
I'm a big Kyrie Irving fan, but the person I like on that team is Torian Prince. Shout out TP, freshman leader on my team at Baylor. Shout out TP, he's having a great season this year.
TCU A little bit of a 6-0 run to get back in this game, but they still trail by 6 with 7 minutes to go. McBride called his own number, no. Osaboyan, the offensive rebound. And that's what West Virginia calls the dagger 3. Get an offensive rebound, and instead of putting it right back up, they look for an open 3-point shooter. That time they couldn't knock it down.
I was always told, second shots always go in.
Not that time, but
Not
most
that
of the time.
But most of the time.
West Virginia, no surprise here. 4-2 in terms of offensive rebounds. They might be the best offensive rebounding team in the nation. That TCU foul is going to go on Desmond Bane, and that's a little problematic for Jamie Dixon. 2 early fouls on Bane. He averages 35.5 minutes a game. That's second in the Big 12, and he's going to have to go to the bench.
That was one of the few times you see Desmond Bane take one too many dribbles. Normally he takes one dribble, sees the defender help over, and is able to kick to the wide open man. That time he took one too many dribbles, stopped the fast break, got his second foul. Now he's on the bench.
Culver wants it. He's double teamed.
Oh.
And a foul is called. I'll tell you what, when Derek Culver gets the ball with 2 feet in the paint, he is a whirling dervish in a phone booth.
Hey, I saw it firsthand last year playing against him. Every time he got the ball down, if I was anywhere by, I'm flopping and taking the charge. I'm not even going to try to stop this man.
Averaged 10 rebounds a game in Big 12 play. 8 double-doubles as a freshman in the Big 12 last year.
He was a man-child last year. On the scouting report, it said man-child.
Here's Harler. Catch and release. No offensive rebound. McBride got it. And as we said, King, sometimes that's the best Mountaineer offense.
That's always their best. The Mountaineers are significantly known for crashing, sending 3, maybe even 4 to the glass every single time. You have to box out. If you don't box out, you have no chance in the world of beating this Mountaineer team.
No surprise, they're winning the offensive rebound battle, and they're winning the second chance points battle. A deep 3 by Dennis, ill-advised. The tap. And it's going to be a foul on Jair Grayer going the other way, West Virginia basketball. A lot of frustration etched on the faces of the Horned Frogs.
That's what this West Virginia defense does to you. They speed you up and get you out of your rhythm. And as we know, basketball is a game of rhythm. Rhythm shots, everything revolves around rhythm. And West Virginia does a great job of getting you out of that and getting you out of kilter. That was an ill-advised shot by Edric Dennis. That's a terrible shot. And West Virginia forced that because of their defense.
Well, at the top of this telecast, King told you all about the 3-point shooting of TCU. First in the conference, averaging 37%. First in the conference, averaging just under 10 3-point makes a game. So far, they're 2 for 6 from distance. Advantage, West Virginia.
Right now, TCU needs somebody to step up and make shots. The few open looks they get, they have to hit. But right now, that West Virginia defense is on a roll, and they are doing what they've been doing all year. Holding teams to 23% from the 3-point line. Second best in America at doing that.
Remember that Monday Night Football game where Jets quarterback Sam Darnold was caught saying, "I'm seeing ghosts"? It almost seems that way right now for TCU on offense. They're expecting the West Virginia defense to be in their face, and they're missing open looks. Culver another 2. He has 5. Back to a 10-point West Virginia lead. And another turnover for TCU. That's number 9 for Jamie Dixon's Frogs.
Checking in for the Mountaineers, Sean McNeil.
Now Sean McNeil checks in for Bob Huggins. As you mentioned earlier, he is not afraid to go to his bench. Number 22 in gray, the number 1 scorer in junior college last year. Taz Sherman, also a junior college superstar. Here's McNeil, right off the bench, can't hit the first three attempt. It goes out of bounds. It'll stay West Virginia basketball. 4:35 to go in the first half. Number 12, West Virginia, 10-point lead over TCU, who comes in undefeated in Big 12 play. Savoyan out to McNeil. Another attempt, and he's short for the second time. Sherman, another offensive board. And good hands, a deflection by TCU defense gives them the ball. Nembhard got fouled.
Foul is called on Sean McNeil. His first, team 6.
And that's the team's 6th foul, so no shooting yet for the Horned Frogs. They'll have it under their own basket with 25 seconds on the shot clock. Ten on the shot clock for the Frogs. Pull-up jumper, no. Culver lost that rebound, and the follow slam is waved off. We've got a foul on the floor. Well, Derek Culver was inches away from his 4th rebound. Instead, we take our final media timeout of the first half with the Mountaineers up 10. Of Big 12 basketball. There's the Southwest Conference leader in assists back in the mid to late 80s, Jamie Dixon, who played for legendary head coach Jack Killingsworth. From 1983 to 1987, he was inducted into the TCU Hall of Fame in 2007, and after a very successful coaching career at Pitt, moved back to his alma mater to take over the reins at TCU. He's in his 4th season, 17th overall. And remember, last year, even though it was a disappointment and they didn't make the NCAA tournament, they made it all the way to the Final Four of the NIT. Nothing better than getting back to the NCAA tournament this year for Jamie Dixon. They were preseason 10th in this conference, so I think they've turned some heads in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've definitely turned some heads, and they've even got some AP poll votes to be in the top 25, which nobody would have guessed at the beginning of the year, but Jamie Dixon is doing a great job with this team and really maximizing his talent.
There's McNeil. He missed his first 2, but he's got his one on his 3rd attempt. Sean McNeil, who averaged 29.7 points a game as a JUCO player last year at Sinclair Community College. And TCU needs a bucket in the worst way. Coming up on 5 minutes of game time without one. And we're going the other way. It's going to be West Virginia basketball with the Mountaineers up by 12 and 3:10 to go in the first half. How about this? We talk about how deep this West Virginia team is. King, 7 different Mountaineers have already scored in the first half.
This team is very deep because Coach Huggins he does a great job recruiting. A lot of the guys that he recruits, they're either great scorers or they have a chip on their shoulder. And you see that time after time from all the guards. And what a luxury it is to bring in, as your 8th man, a guy who averaged 29 points per game in JUCO. That's a luxury. You have to go deep into your bench when you have offensive talents like him and Taz Sherman on your bench. You have to go deep. You have no other choice.
There's Sherman guarding P.J. Fuller at the point. Culver missed the front end of the 1-and-1. If there is a fly in the ointment for Derek Culver, it's free throws. Just 62% and 7 for his last 23 from the free throw strike. And we've got a foul on the floor that's going to send TCU back to the free throw line. So P.J. Fuller's got his first chance at points tonight, averaging just over 6 a game. Freshman out of Seattle by way of Findlay Prep. And as good a shooting team as TCU is, one area that they are deficient is at the free throw line as well. Just 62% from the line as a team. That's last in the Big 12.
Well, that definitely won't get you victories against elite defenses, because when you have those opportunities, as we see a bucket from McNeil right there, when you have those opportunities, you have to be able to capitalize, whether it's open threes or free throws. You have to be able to make those.
McNeil is 2 for his last 2. He's right on his season average already. Largest lead of the game for the Mountaineers. Inside, Samuel an easy 2. Kevin Samuel has 4. The lead is cut to 12 with under 2 minutes to go in the first half. And now TCU has a chance to put a couple of buckets back to back, something they haven't been able to do much this game.
Yeah, that was a good defensive possession, because Napper's not really a point guard. He's a look-to-shoot first type of point guard, and sometimes he gets himself into trouble because he's always looking to score and passes by default. As you see right there, got himself into trouble, had to pass by default.
On the shot clock. Fuller from the corner. Got it. Sweet stroke from P.J. Fuller, his first 3 points of the night. And just like that, TCU clawing back in, down by 9. That was a much-needed 3 by the best three-point shooting team in the Big 12. Well, this TCU team, King, averages 10 three-pointers made per game. That three-pointer by P.J. Fuller, just their 3rd of the first half with 1 minute to go.
We talked about it in the open. West Virginia shuts teams down from the three-point line, and they're doing that with this great shooting TCU team.
Here's Culver again. This time he's good on the free throw. If Derek Culver was more consistent from the free throw line, he would roll out of bed every morning with a double-double.
No question. He's so big, and he's really skilled. But what impresses me the most is his work on defense. He can really move his feet on the perimeter, and nobody talks about it. He can guard guards, and he keeps guards out of the paint, and that is really, really rare in today's game.
Derek Culver has himself 7 points to go along with 6 rebounds tonight. Dennis. Offensive rebound this time by the Frogs. Nembhard can't pay it off. The rebound to McNeil. 7-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. 30 seconds to go in the first half, and Bob Huggins with a use it or lose it timeout. We'll take a 30-second timeout along with both clubs in Big 12 action from Morgantown. 12th ranked West Virginia up by 11. No one is more excited for this Saturday night than King McClure. It's UFC 246 from Vegas, featuring Conor McGregor's long-awaited return to the octagon against Cowboy Cerrone, who holds the UFC record for most wins and most finishes. That starts at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific in the main event on pay-per-view. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to espnplus.com/ppv, and be sure to download the ESPN app if you're watching on your mobile device. The prelims start at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Mountaineers going to milk the clock. Here's McCabe, gives it up to McNeil. Deep 3, got it! 5 seconds in the half. Here's Dennis. A late call, and it's going to be a traveling violation on TCU. 10 turnovers in the first half for a team that averages just over 13 a game. McCabe, it'll be good if it goes. No, they wave it off. And still, West Virginia goes to the locker room in command in Morgantown. The 12th-ranked Mountaineers 37, TCU 23. After the break, Kevin Connors, Dallin Cupp, and Sean Farnham will be talking about the Wooden Watch. We're back after this. Welcome back to Super Tuesday, presented by Progressive. Big 12 action from Morgantown, where number 12 West Virginia has a commanding 14-point lead as we get set to start the second half over the TCU Horned Frogs. Rich Hollenberg, King McClure, and there is Derek Culver, who has 7 points and 6 rebounds to go along with an electric personality, as you could see, having some fun out there in his sophomore campaign, and he has led the charge, even though his fellow big man, Oscar Shibwe, who has been much celebrated this year as a fabulous freshman, has been held in check, no points. It's Sean McNeil who stepped in off the bench and led this team in scoring. That's the thing about having depth. You never know whose night is going to be. If it's not your best player's night, you got 11 other guys who might step up to the challenge. Here's an open three right off the bat, and Edric Dennis cashes in. Just talked about it in the break. TCU must take advantage of the opportunities presented, and Edric Dennis just took advantage with that first three. That's three-pointer number 5, or make that 4 for a team that averages about 10 makes per game from beyond the arc. A block by Samuel and a good start by the Horned Frogs at a halftime. Bain on the back cut, blocked by Shibwe. West Virginia looking to improve to 3-1 in Big 12 play and hand the Frogs their first loss in the conference this season. They came in at 3-0, their best conference start in their program's history in the Big 12. That foul's going to go on Samuel, who is pleading his case that his hands were straight up in the air. That's a problem with having a 7'5" wingspan, I guess. Here's Culver. And McCabe, plenty of time to think about it, and he still can't find the bottom of the bucket. A frustrating start to the season offensively for an electric high school scorer in Jordan McCabe. Shooting 14% from 3. TCU is living with McCabe shooting that shot right now. Normally they wouldn't, because he normally makes those, but the way he started in this Big 12 conference off, they're living with that shot. Here's Bain for 3. Got it. Desmond Bain's second triple of the night, and he's in double digits with 10. That is what TCU needs. They need to be able to knock down the 3 if they want any chance of winning this ball game. And already within the first 2 minutes of the second half, they have a pair of 3-pointers. It's a great sign for this Horned Frogs team. They double the post. He cross-courts it. McCabe, this time he hits a 3. And a big sigh of relief for Jordan McCabe, his first points of the night. And McCabe picks it off. Here's Culver at the other end. Culver's first bucket of the second half gives him 9 and extends the lead back to 13 for the Mountaineers. And they're going to get McCabe for the hand check on R.J. Nembhard. Well, how is TCU going to get back into it, King? Beyond the arc. Shooting the 3. Take advantage of your opportunities. We see a big shot by Dennis, and then we see one of the best players in the 12 set his feet, get the shot up, bucket by Desmond Bain. There's a foul on the shot, and R.J. Nembhard will go to the line.
foul number 2.
That's the second on Emmett Matthews, who came in averaging just under 8 points a game, but has been in a real scoring slump himself. 4 for his last 25 coming into this contest, and has yet to get in the scoring column tonight.
That's a kid who I think is going to make the most difference for this West Virginia team. If they can get him going, if they can get him to score the ball, because they need scoring. I think this West Virginia team could potentially be an Elite 8, maybe Final Four team if they get Emmett Matthews on the right track.
Matthews going to go to the bench, as Nembhard will go for his 3rd free throw. And he only goes 1 for 2, normally reliable from the stripe, 75%. So the lead is a dozen, and Nembhard gets the foul. And Andrew Dennis gives Nembhard an earful.
15 seconds.
10 on the shot clock. Here's Shibwe, guarded by Samuel. Harler for 3. Fight for the loose ball, rebound, and put back by Derek Culver. If the Tasmanian Devil was 6'10" and weighed 255, his name would be Derek Culver.
TCU is undersized. Every time West Virginia takes a shot, you must locate a body and hit somebody so that they can get off of the glass, because if you do not, this is what they do. With the 2 beasts of Culver and Shibwe, there's no chance for any team if they do not box out.
Culver now has 11 points and 8 rebounds. 2 rebounds shy of another double-double. This match is the largest lead of the game for the Mountaineers at 14. And that triple is good. So all of a sudden, the threes are starting to fall for Jamie Dixon's club. And we were bemoaning the poor shooting of TCU in the first half. All of a sudden, they're now 6 for 12 from beyond the arc. And an offensive foul, turnover number 10 for West Virginia. TCU with a chance to cut it back to a single-digit deficit with 15:58 to go from Morgantown. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, a must-have for Big 12 Hoops fans. It's the exclusive home for Iowa State and number 2 Baylor tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Plus catch TCU Oklahoma and Norman on Saturday at 2 Eastern. And on January 29th, number 12 West Virginia in Lubbock for the rematch against number 23 Texas Tech. You can sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big12. Currently in Morgantown, an 11-point lead for the 12th-ranked Mountaineers over TCU, but TCU trying to claw their way back in. They're 3 for 4 from three-point range in the second half. Nembhard left alone. Got it. Make it 4 for 5 from 3 for TCU in the second half.
Nembhard is a kid whose shot looks a little funny, has a little hitch on it, but he's very, very confident. His numbers aren't great, but he is going to let it fly. And if he sees one go in, it could be a long night.
Look at that guy. Jermaine Haley paying it off. Jordan McCabe's 3rd dime of the night is a SC Top 10 nominee. Farabello grabbed it. Grayer for 3, short. And look at McCabe, the smallest player on the floor, sticking his nose in there and leaving it for McCabe. Oh, Shibwe couldn't get it, but Culver does. Well, he's not going to get credit for it, but Jordan McCabe deserves another assist on that one. Instead, it's Derek Culver picking up the miss and adding to the West Virginia lead. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Well, the Mountaineers train rolling on in Morgantown tonight. They have a lead of 12 on TCU. King, take us inside the play.
Bob Huggins loves this back screen lob. Trust me, I know we got hit with this last year. Sheboy does a great job of setting the screen, making contact. There was no help by Sheboy's man. As a result, Jermaine Haley got the wide open dunk. Same thing happened to us. Jermaine Haley had a nice one-hand dunk last year, but he loves to run that play, Bob Huggins.
So many times I've heard you can tell a good coach by what they draw up out of timeouts. That was one of those situations, and the future Hall of Famer Bob Huggins drew it up perfectly.
He's one of the best coaches in college basketball for a reason.
And he is 14 and a half minutes away from career win number 874. Two on the shot clock. Grayer, short, and the rebound to McBride.
It feels like West Virginia forces you to take shots that you don't want to take. They get, like we talked about earlier, they get you out of your rhythm and force you into taking really bad shots, honestly.
McBride with an open lane and an easy two for Miles McBride. And you might hear some, what sounds like booing from the WVU crowd. It's actually Deuce. They're calling it Deuce. That's Miles McBride's nickname. A 6-0 West Virginia run to put them back on top by 14 with 14 minutes to go. Here's Bain. Pull up off the mark, but he drew the foul on Jermaine Haley. And Bob Huggins sitting on his stool, holding his hands up in the air, saying, all you got to do is put your hands up, Jermaine. So Desmond Bain at the line, sitting on 10 points. Make it 11 for Desmond Bain, who is as valuable to his team as anybody in the Big 12, maybe anybody in the country. Leads this team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals.
But the thing that stands out to me the most is consistency. He does this game in, game out. You know what you're going to get from your senior leader.
One of only 3 players in college hoops averaging 17, 7, and 3. Desmond Bain. He's got 11 tonight. Inside. There's Sheboy. We haven't seen a lot of that tonight, but that looked pretty darn good.
Checking in for TCU,
It all started with the great positioning. He's able to duck in Ledee, and Ledee ended up going a little bit too much to the right, was able to turn to his left, good left right-handed hook. Good move by the freshman.
He is a long way off. I'm going to preface what I'm about to say. A long way off. But there are times where Oscar Sheboy can remind you a little bit of Zion Williamson.
Wow.
Athletic ability.
Wow.
Bounciness. I prefaced it, didn't I?
You prefaced it. You prefaced it.
He completes the three-point play. Largest lead of the game, 16 now for the Mountaineers. Deontay Smith got the foul on Osaboyan and will go to the line. Well, Derek Culver on the bench right now with 13 points and 9 rebounds. 1 rebound shy of his 5th double-double of the season. And what a luxury to have a kid like that sit on the bench and still have a kid like Oscar Sheboy on the floor for you.
When you look across the country, I don't think that there's a better front court in America than Sheboy and Culver. And I'm not talking about Big 12. I'm talking about in America, in the country. I don't think that there is a better front court than these two combined.
Smith goes 1 for 2. And just to bolster that point, they're the only pair in the Big 12 averaging over 9 rebounds a game. They're one of only 3 pairs in all of college basketball that could say that. They tried for the quick dump down to Shibwe that time. It's tapped out of bounds, and it'll stay West Virginia basketball. Harler. And the offensive rebound goes to West Virginia. Inside, Shibwe. Left hand. Making it look easy, King.
Hey, when he is that low, has that good post position, it is an automatic bucket. He posts up really well. That's one thing he really does. He gets great position down low. Now, his offensive skills, his post moves, he doesn't have that yet. But he doesn't need it when he can get that deep. As a defender, you cannot let him get that deep.
Has 6 double-doubles already this season. 7 points, trying to make it 8 with this free throw. And a nice touch from the free throw line as well. So Oscar Shibwe's come on a little bit in the second half. Things are starting to get away from TCU. "11 offensive rebounds by West Virginia, and they are dominating in second chance points." A bucket here, and it's a 20-point lead. Again, Shibwe. And almost had another chance at a 3-point play. They can't stop him in there.
Because of the post position, which is really, really rare because Kevin Samuels is a big body. And Oscar Shibwe is just treating him like he's a little boy. Get out the way, little boy, and getting great post position time after time after time. And as I mentioned earlier, when he gets that deep, there's nothing you can do but foul.
Shibwe off the mark on that free throw attempt. Well, the 3-point line might be the determining factor in tonight's game, but we know that West Virginia is going to dominate most teams in the paint, and they're doing it tonight against the Frogs.
This is what you expect out of a Bob Huggins team. Nothing less than this. Look at the rebound, the differential. Oh, my goodness.
West Virginia 6th in the nation, averaging 42+ rebounds per game. And they're 5th in the nation in offensive rebounds. Look at that steal by Osaboyan. He's already taken a couple of charges, and he drew the possession arrow that time. And this Mountaineers crowd loves it. That defines Mountaineers basketball.
Osaboyan is exactly what Bob Huggins wants in a player who's going to do the little things. Play great defense, take charges, get deflections, do things that don't account on the stat sheet.
Inside. Oh, we got an offensive foul this time on the big fella. That's just his second foul, and Oscar Shibwe is going to take a seat on the bench, but not before he gets an earful from Bob Huggins. I'm sure it's mostly praiseworthy, though, from Hugs that time. And once again, TCU coming a little bit unhinged. 14 Frog turnovers tonight. And a bailout foul there by TCU as Derek Culver was bobbling it on the inbounds. West Virginia's going to be shooting free throws on every subsequent TCU foul, so Derek Culver is going to go to the line. That's 4 fouls on Ledee. Kevin Samuel also has 4 fouls tonight.
If those two go out the game, TCU doesn't have another big, so I don't know what they're going to do.
Culver's got 14. He leads all scorers tonight. Still sitting 1 rebound shy of his 5th double-double of the season. And 1 for 2 for Culver. Here comes Bain with his team down 20. Bain for 3. And it's chased down by guess who? Derek Culver. They're going to give him a rebound on that, and that'll be his 5th double-double of the year. 14 rebounds and 14 points and 10 rebounds. Inside, Culver, why not? Well, cue up John Denver. This one's almost over with 11:37 to go. West Virginia rolling. Well, it's going to be an angry Duke Blue Devils team who lost tonight to Clemson. But tonight here in Morgantown, it's been the Derek Culver show. His 14th career double-double, 5th this year, and he's nearly perfect from the field. He's at the line right now, leading this West Virginia 12th-ranked team to just 11:37 away from victory number 14 on the season and number 3 in the Big 12. Culver knocks it down to complete the 3-point play. He's got 17 now. And TCU is in the midst of another scoring drought. They've had a handful of them tonight. Over 4 minutes without a bucket for the Frogs. Look at Osaboya. Absolutely suffocating. In the corner. Nembhard can't get it. Another rebound for Culver. That's number 11. We might be saying this all season, but he and Oscar Tshiebwe are going to be leapfrogging each other for 1 and 2 in rebounding in the Big 12. Harler tried to get it to Culver, but it's out of bounds. It'll stay West Virginia basketball. And now Gabe Osaboyan gets a big hand as he goes to the bench, and Logan Rout checks in. McBride. Smooth jumper from Miles McBride with 8.
Miles McBride can really shoot the mid-range jumper. If you watch the last game they played against Texas Tech, he dominated the second half of all mid-range jump shots. That's his specialty, but he can also step out and shoot the 3. I'm really a big fan of his game.
Had a season-high 22 in that win on Saturday against the Red Raiders. Oh. Nembhard tried the throwdown, got fouled, and R.J. Nembhard will go to the line. That'll be the 3rd foul on Logan Rout. We'll see if Bob Huggins decides to have him take a breather on the bench. Nembhard's got 11. But the lead is 24 for West Virginia. This defense looks a lot different from the Press Virginia defense we saw in years past. But I like to make the comparison. If they were a Cobra-like defense with Press Virginia, now they're more of an Anaconda defense. They could just suffer you with their man-to-man D.
Well, when you're playing 12 players, eventually you just wear the other team down because nobody else plays that many guys.
Napper, tough shot. Bain, the one-hand rebound. Here's Samuel playing with 4 fouls. Fuller with Culver guarding. Tried for the blow-by. Almost turned it over. Loose ball. Culver comes away with it. Here's Culver at the other end. Offensive foul. Good position by Edric Dennis. That's only the 12th West Virginia turnover tonight. They've averaged 15 a game, so that's also a positive sign for Bob Huggins' club.
Yeah, it just seems like they're taking the right steps. It seems like they're slowly getting better offensively, and that's what Bob Huggins is really looking for.
At this point, with the West Virginia team that we're seeing tonight, clicking offensively, locking down defensively, how do you think they match up with, let's say, the Baylors and the Kansases? I know they already played Kansas and lost by 7, but how do they match up against the top 2 teams in this league?
Well, I think one thing that's definitely going in their favor is that neither one of those teams have 2 bigs of this caliber. And I think Baylor's guards, Baylor's guards are better, but I feel like the interior of West Virginia will be very hard for Baylor to match up with in the future matchup.
Jair Grayer with the nice take. He's been silent most of the night. That's just his 5th point. And that bucket broke a scoring drought for TCU that lasted nearly 7 minutes. Well, West Virginia won't see Kansas again until February 12th here in Morgantown. Right after that, they get on the road and travel to Waco to take on Baylor on February 15th. And then they'll close out Big 12 regular season play on March 7th at home against the Baylor Bears. And something tells me that those 3 games are going to be monumental in the Big 12 standings.
I would definitely be tuning in and seeing what happens.
Here's Sheboy. He's in double digits with 11. Haley with the steal. And the layup at the other end.
Just not a smart foul by Jair Grayer. If you're going to foul, especially on a play like that, make sure he does not get the and one. You cannot allow him to get a 3-point play. You must foul and make him feel it.
Jermaine Haley at the line, the 6'7" senior from Vancouver, averaging a little over 9 points a game. He's got 7 tonight after that 3-point play. The bigs for West Virginia have dominated. Combined, Culver and Sheboy are 10 for 12 from the field. Five to shoot for the Frogs. And it's going to be a shot clock violation. The West Virginia defense rises up. And when we come back, we'll tell you why King McClure thinks they're the best in the nation. As advertised, the West Virginia defense stifling.
This is what they do. When you drive to the lane, you see 2 big bodies that help defense. Gabe Osaboyan does it all and is an elite defender and helps this defense become what they are. They get in past the lanes, they do it all, and this defense is one of the best in the country. In my opinion, the best in the country.
Well, they're top 2 in the nation in field goal percentage. Let's look at the rest of this list, though. I think most people would know Virginia and Butler are traditionally good. Sacramento State is number 4. What's up with that?
So, yes. As I did my research and as I watched tape, this Sacramento State team in the Big Sky, Brian Katz and the Hornets, West Virginia holds teams to 23% from the 3-point field goal percentage. This team holds opponents to 24%. They're right behind. They're third in America, and they do a great job of taking away threes and defending people and closing the gaps. So shout out to Sacramento State, because they are playing defense over there in the Big Sky.
And the Liberty Flames check in at number 5 for King McClure's best defenses. I think some people remember them because they made the NCAA tournament 1 year ago.
Yeah, if you saw earlier, at one point in the season, they were one of the few undefeated teams in America, and that is why, because they get it done on the defensive end.
Shout out to Sacramento State. I don't think anybody tuning in tonight thought they were going to hear about the Hornets.
Yeah, call me crazy, but facts is facts.
Good hands, a deflection and a steal by Harler. And then the foul on Samuel, and that'll be the end of his night. A relatively quiet night for the big man from Barbuda. 6 points and just 3 rebounds. Well, one thing you could say about the Mountaineer Maniacs, they are in sync with their cheering.
Man, the Mountaineer Maniacs. I've had my fair share of run-ins with a few of them.
Harler misses the first one. Well, next up for West Virginia, they go on the road to take on Kansas State. And then they're home for a big Monday game against Texas. And then the Big 12 SEC battle brings the Missouri Tigers to town. Next up for TCU, they go on the road to Norman to take on Oklahoma, who's battling Kansas tonight without Devon Dotson. Nembhard the drive, got fouled by McBride, and RJ Nembhard will go to the line. And even without Dotson, Kansas on the road took care of the Oklahoma Sooners by 14.
Kansas is very talented. They're a really good team, and they're always top 5. And Coach Self does a great job with that team. And really, one thing he does a great job of is adapting year to year. He knows his teams and does a great job of being able to play to his team's strengths, because all his teams are different. Like 2-3 years ago when they had Malik Newman and Devontae Graham, they were small, so they played small. But now that they have DeSouza and Azubuike, they're back to playing the high-low style of basketball. Coach Sub does a great job of adapting to his teams and playing to their strengths.
And it was really like a spring renewal for Bill Self. They were in a shaky situation. Quentin Grimes decided to transfer. They might have been a little soft in their roster, and all of a sudden, Isaiah Moss decides as a grad transfer, I'm leaving Iowa, I'm going to Kansas. He had 6 3-pointers tonight.
He stepped up in the Baylor game and really, honestly, kept Kansas in that game without Dotson and Azubuike contributing. Without him, the game might have been a 20-point game, honestly.
McNeil off to the right on that 3-point attempt. Anytime you can win a Big 12 road game like Kansas did tonight, it counts as like 1.5 wins. But even more impressive, they did it without the services of Devon Dotson tonight, out with a hip injury that he suffered in that loss to Baylor last Saturday.
Winning in the Big 12 is not an easy thing to do. Trust me, it is not an easy thing to do.
Shibwe had a chip shot that he missed there.
I think that's the next level for Shibwe. I think he's a great player, rebounds the mess out the ball, and can score around the rim. I think the next level of his game is developing post moves. You see too many times he has open layups and just can't finish. I think that's going to be the next step for his game. He has to develop post moves and has to just get some of that rawness out. And it comes with experience. It comes with playing and practicing. He just has to get some of that rawness out that he has right now.
11 points, 6 rebounds tonight for the McDonald's All-American, just the second McDonald's All-American to enroll at West Virginia. 3rd overall to play for Bob Huggins. He was born in the Congo, came over to the United States at the behest of NBA player Bismack Biyombo. Played his high school basketball in the state of Pennsylvania, where he was the Gatorade Player of the Year. And as we said, coming into tonight, led the Big 12 with 9.8 rebounds a game. Haley hits both free throws. It's been a good night offensively for Jermaine Haley. That's a good sign also for Bob Huggins, who's had a roster full of struggling offensive players. And if they start waking up and knocking down shots, look out. They go from a potential Sweet 16 team to maybe a Final Four quality team.
I think so. They have the size, they have the post players, they have the guard play to make it to the Final Four if they can just get 2 or 3 consistent scoring options.
Another open look, passed up, and that one was swallowed up by Taz Sherman.
The help side is just so great. You see 2 help defenders coming over to try to stop the one man. That's why they're so good on defense, because they clog the lanes and force you to shoot contested shots.
We talked about Sean McNeil leading junior college in scoring. Taz Sherman was 4th in the country in junior college in scoring, but the way to get minutes on a Mountaineers team is to play defense like Taz Sherman just did. They go 12 deep. They come at you in waves. They've got 2 elite level bigs, and they play defense like no one else in the country.
That is a formula for a potential Final Four championship team.
The lead has ballooned to 31 for the Mountaineers. Bain at the other end. Well, we've reached our final media timeout. 3:25 to go. West Virginia looking to improve to 3-1 in the Big 12. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Progressive Insurance. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com. There are 2 statues outside WVU Coliseum. One is of the logo, Jerry West. The other, that man, Hot Rod Hundley, who had his number 33 retired, one of the all-time greats, and then went on to NBA success, longtime broadcaster for the New Orleans, then Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz, by the way, off to a great start this season with Donovan Mitchell leading the way. And the lead for Osaboyan. Gabe Osaboyan with his first points of the night. Counting down to 3 minutes to go. A resounding effort by these West Virginia Mountaineers. Osaboyan will go to the line and shoot 2. Well, coming up on SportsCenter tonight after number 6 Kansas in Oklahoma with Kenny Mayne and John Anderson, Jeff Passan will detail why the Red Sox and Alex Cora are parting ways. Plus, why the Chiefs-Titans Week 10 matchup was a turning point for both clubs. And inside Utah's quest for their 10th straight win, taking on Kyrie and the Nets. That's SportsCenter after Big 12 Hoops on ESPN. And if you heard that roar from the crowd, that's because number 30, Spencer Mackey, is entering the game. The crowd was calling for him, and now with the Mountaineers up 80-49, Mackey will get some minutes.
So one thing I love when walk-ons come in the game, because we had a walk-on at Baylor, and every time he would come in the game, he would be scared to shoot. I know if I'm a walk-on and I'm getting in the game for the first time,
jack it up.
I promise you I'm shooting every time I touch it.
Well, he does not have a field goal yet this season. He has 2 free throws in a total of 6 minutes played. Let's see what happens with Spencer Mackey, number 30 in gray for the Mountaineers. He might get a chance here after another steal by Osaboyan.
Osaboyan has been everywhere, and that's just what he does. He does the little things that, like I said earlier, that you don't see on the stat sheet.
10 on the shot clock.
Get him a shot.
Instead, it's Sherman. Tipped out of bounds. It'll be TCU basketball with $1:55 to go. Some of these Mountaineers might hear some boos if they don't get Mackey an open look. "81 points by West Virginia. They dominated outside and inside. That open look doesn't go, and that's been the story of the night for TCU. They've had their shots, they just couldn't knock them down.
They could not capitalize, and then on top of that, they could not handle the two-headed monster for the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Here's the sharpshooter, McNeil.
Look for him.
Mackey's got it. 2 to shoot.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And it's a shot clock violation. Better to have that than the air ball. Air ball doesn't count now that it's a shot clock violation.
Look, I just want to see him get shots up. That's all I want to see over here.
1 minute. 1 minute to go.
1 minute to go in this one. West Virginia will improve to 14-2 on the season. Their only losses coming at St. John's and in the Big 12 opener on the road at Kansas. And with the way things are going in the top 10 this year, West Virginia might move into the top 10.
They are definitely a top 10 team, and if they do not move into the top 10, then the people who are voting in the AP polls are crazy.
Here's Mackey for 3.
Oh.
Off the mark. The crowd wanted it so badly, but nobody wanted it more than Spencer Mackey wanted it himself.
Man, the crowd would have erupted had that went in.
Well, the final seconds will tick down in a dominating effort by the 12th ranked West Virginia Mountaineers. Your final score from Morgantown, West Virginia 81, TCU 49, and career win number 874 for Bob Huggins as West Virginia improves to 3-1 and TCU drops to 3-1 in conference play. Baylor will be playing Iowa State tomorrow night with a chance to be the first to 4 wins in conference play. So once again, our final score, West Virginia 81, TCU 49. For everybody here at ESPN, including my broadcast partner, King McClure, I'm Rich Hollenberg saying so long from Morgantown. Now we send you to College Football Live.